Hello, welcome back to the Swans Cast podcast. Obviously, this week, the last game before Christmas, Swansea are heading up to Hull, and I've got Cristian joining me from Hull and Back podcast. So thank you for joining me, Cristian. I know it's
No,
a little bit close to Christmas, so always hard to squeeze these things in, but I do appreciate it.
no, thanks for getting us down, Luke. It's nice to be here. To be fair, I've seen the show before, so no, really
Appreciate
appreciate
that.
being on. Yeah, no,
I think Ant's been on here before, so probably give him a watch when he was here before. But yeah, Ant's not here today. We've got Cristian, obviously work together on Hull and Back. So where can we find all the stuff that you put out as well?
absolutely everywhere. YouTube, Twitter, now known as X, Facebook. Think of a social platform, and we're on there, and including local DAB digital radio on Wednesdays as well. On the evenings, you'll find us doing a nice Owly segment as well with a few of the local lads. So yeah, we're busy.
That's quite cool. How did you manage to get that sorted out? That's quite interesting one.
That's
Not you that before.
ant magic, I guess. Let's go with that one. It's always an
Right.
ant magic.
I'll have to go and give him a shout. But no, appreciate you joining me. Of course, go check out Hal and Back if you want to go and have a look at the opposition and what they're discussing before the game. I'll be honest. I think I was chatting to you before the show. It's been a little bit of a surprising, well, to me anyway, as a Swansea fan, it's a surprise to see where you are in the table. Obviously, sitting last. I know you don't need reminding, but just for context for the Swans fans who are watching, Hull sitting last, 16 points. In the last 5 games, is 4 defeats and a draw. I think if you go back further, it makes even worse reading. Your last
Definitely.
win coming in.
October, September.
Sorry, it's just thrown me off. You had a friendly game in the middle of the season. What's that all about?
Training camp away
In the middle of
during
the
the
season, like an international break.
international break. Yeah.
You're like the only team in the league that does that, or
No, there was a one or two that did that.
oh,
There was one or two, but I think we desperately needed it more than anybody else, if I'm honest with you, to
fair enough.
get
And I
us
guess
going more.
there's a links there with Turkish team, is it?
Yes, yeah, with our owner Ajin,
Yeah.
you know, he's very Turkey proud and brings it all over to the club, and obviously brings the fans over to Turkey quite often as well. But most of our training camps have been over in Turkey, and we've arranged a couple of friendlies whilst we're out there over the like I say international period. So try to get as much in and squeeze as much in because we obviously needed it. Well, we still need it. We could do
Well, he
with
won that. To be fair, he won that game, so kind of did his job. But then
yeah,
the
yeah.
last win in the league was against QPR
Hmm.
away, 1st of October.
Yep.
A couple of draws after. I know there's a couple of defeats, but a couple of draws after that in a row. But they
Yep.
seem to have turned into a lot of defeats since.
Yes.
So yeah, not the most pretty reading. To
Mhm.
be honest, all of this is available, guys. You can go and check it out. I don't want to, I don't want to put the knife in anymore on Cristian here. But what's gone on then? Let's
Well,
revisit last season first because you had a good season last
yeah, we
season.
did.
Right? You had a lot for me on the outside, a lot of quality players coming in, spent a lot of money. I
Mhm.
think you could say, but you got Philogene, some of the guys you brought in on loan, and even in January. I thought you made some top signings, so I was a bit surprised you didn't quite make the playoffs. But how was last season as a whole? And did you sort of meet the expectations?
Yeah, I mean the expectations of City. I mean, finishing seventh is happy days. I mean, obviously, we wanted playoffs. I mean, what club didn't want playoffs to get higher up in the league at the end of last season? So it was a bit of a disappointing end because we did throw away a lot of games that we should have closed out and win. Um, and I think that was the only upsetting point, really. I mean, the start of the season all the way up to Christmas, I think actually in December we were top six, I believe. January came around, and we, like I say, we did some amazing signings as well to help us push us over. Because at that stage as well of the season, we still didn't really have kind of an out and out striker, which is a trend that's followed us over to this season, obviously. Um, and we had the lap come in, which was amazing. And it was, I think, the biggest problem with being Hull last season was we were a lone club. We didn't really have that many permanent players / the players that were permanent were coming up to the end of the contracts as well.
Yeah.
And everybody that we kind of got in was either a loan option to buy, or you will buy options at the end of there, or obviously go back to your home club. And it was a disappointing, I guess, end, finishing 7th. And I guess that was one of the reasons why Ajin got rid of Liam Rosenior at the end of the season. Now, he did say he wanted a more attacking brand of football, but that took time. It will always take time with a gel
Yeah.
and start getting that more of attacking. Liam Rosenior's kind of philosophy was don't concede the goals, then learn how to actually score the goals, which is the right way around of doing things, especially with the team that he inherited when he actually became the manager, to the point of where he left, which I will still state to this day, a lot of Hull City fans are still a little bit salty about. I mean,
Yeah, can I push you on that a bit more? Because from my group chat from the podcast and just other people that I discuss football with, I guess, very shocked at that decision.
Yep.
One of the general opinion is like, why have they done that? That's ridiculous. Hope it bites them sort of back. You know, it's like when someone, I think the same with Birmingham last year with Eustace, and same sort of reaction where he was doing a good job.
Mhm.
People from the outside in looking in think really good job for the resources and the expectation of where the club should be. And it's a crazy decision to get rid. I feel like a lot of fans looked at that decision from Hull in the same way.
Yeah, no, I
So
agree.
did it feel like that on the inside as well?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of fans are. I guess you can say it's a 50-50 split, a bit more since the new appointment of the new management, previous management, because they left a few games ago, which we'll go into again. I think it was a lot more to do with the manager versus the owner, and what the owner thought versus what the manager thought. I mean, I say I'm speculating, but it's a big rumor. When it came down to Ivo Pando being put in goal, and it was Allsop being played in goal under Liam Rosenior, and that kind of made a bit of a rift between owner and manager, because he brought Ivo over with the promise of first team, and I think he played once, did Panda, and that kind of obviously annoyed the owner a little bit. And again, with the style that the owner's kind of saying he wanted really attacking football. And I will admit, under Liam, at times it was too defensive, too much playing from the back, and kind of not using and utilizing the players that we had, the quality wise, that we signed in January. Don't get me wrong, finishing 7th was brilliant, but I believe, and I guess I do believe this from Ajin's point of view, if Liam was a bit more committed in pushing the ball up a bit more, results could have gone another way, which would have resulted in a playoff position. I do believe that. I'm not saying that I'm right, but I believe that's also one of the reasons why Liam kind of, parted ways with the club, with Ajin's kind of mindset of, I want an attacking coach, a head coach. So it still hurts, because I would love to have Liam about, but I will also say that Liam, if he was in charge this season, he was a very good man manager, very good at bringing the squad together, the lads together, and I think that was something hugely needed for this season, because it was pretty much a full rebuild of the squad. Like we were talking just previously before we went live, where I think in 2024, including the January transfer market in this year, it was like 44 players.
Yeah, it's
out.
40 arrivals, 36 departures, which is a huge turnover, really, when
Yeah,
either way,
and
whatever way you look at it.
that's and you think about the start of this season, as a club, you've lost all your coaching staff, your manager, so it's all brand new. Then you've lost 22 players and brought 16 new ones in, which, it's a full team. It's a full squad. 22 losses is just it's bad. You're not playing with the same team. Don't get me wrong, there's still 3 or 4 players that are still here, but when you're coming into a championship team, you can't just come in with a brand new team and expect to get results. The championship is the hardest league in the world to get out of. It truly is. And to expect to have a new manager with a new philosophy, a new style, and a full new team, a full new squad, and expect instant results out of that is, I don't want to be overly insulting to our owner, but it's naive.
Yeah.
It's very naive to
I think
expect
that's fair to say, to be fair.
Yeah.
I just think that's a fair assessment. And you touched on a few points there from last season. Oh, by the way, I just changed microphones. I didn't realize I had the wrong one on. So I hope I
thought you sounded better, pal.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't realize. So I hope I was loud enough for the first half of this video, but apologies if not. I'll try and sort it out. But I just realized because I was muted and I spoke and I was like, hang on. I forgot to unmute my mic, but he just heard what I said. So I was like, okay, I'm on the wrong microphone, and I. But anyway, that's fixed now. But yeah, last season we played you in February, I think, after these signings, and I was really quite worried about the game, but we actually got an away win, and I don't think it was necessarily. I'm not saying like, I think it was quite a balanced game in the 90 minutes. Maybe I thought quite for a lot of it, Halbert disappointing to what I thought we would see. With the signings that you made in January, especially, maybe they didn't come out and show what they could do until quite late in the game. And from what you were just saying there about the style, I guess it makes sense. And maybe that was a bit too often. I thought the sacking, personally, was a result of the owner said, right, I've backed you in January and you didn't end up getting me the result. So it was just as cutthroat as that, which I don't necessarily agree was the right decision. But I feel like, is that the business decision essentially that went down? Because there was a lot of money thrown around, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Ajin stated that isn't the reason. Okay. And I guess I do believe Ajin in that aspect of things, that it wasn't. I don't believe the promotion was the reason for his sacking. I do believe, though, from the point of view from our owner, with respect to not making playoffs, is that because of all that money that you've just mentioned that was thrown at it and those signings that were made, because he did all that commitment towards the club and he didn't get the result, it was a gamble. And it was a gamble that failed and didn't pay off, which is, I'm not saying a reason for Rafinha. I'm just saying he's now put himself into a position where, I've chucked all this at it. It didn't pay off. And now, unfortunately, he's going with a bigger gamble this season, which I guess leads us on to the appointment and obviously departure.
So go on to this season then. What's happened this season? What's new with the manager? And well, not anymore. But what's happened then? What's happened this year?
I'm going to come out and say it. Tim Walter. What an awful manager. I admit he had an impossible task. I will hands down say he had an impossible task of getting a full new squad of players to play in a style of football that he has tried and tested over a period of time and has, I say, worked for him. His words were, they might score 2, but we'll score 3. Or if we lose a game,
that's the classic, we'll score 1 more than you then.
Exactly, yeah. Or even if it was a loss, as Ajin, our owner, kind of put across, even if it was a loss, it would have been an entertaining loss. There would have been goals. He would have been entertained. And it was completely the opposite. And I mean, total opposite. It was more defensive than Liam. With respect to the players that we got in, I'm not going to go fully into them right now, but for the system that Tim had, he needed a different type and set of quality players to play in his system. But then at the same time, his system and style would never, ever compete in the championship. Not at all. a formation which bypasses your central midfield is just completely and utterly ridiculous. And we were paying evidence of that. And a case of, though it was hard to tell who our best 11 was, because obviously it was chopping and changing so much, I still can't see what players would have made a difference in that type of style of football and that brand of football that he was trying to put across. And when things didn't go in the right way, he started having to go at the fans a bit as well, which was just, well, you've just signed your death warrant with the club. When you start having to go at your home fans and comparing them to another club,
game over, isn't it?
It's game over. Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan. Who isn't? Like, you're a fan, I'm a fan, obviously, of my club. And am I going to sit there standing and scream and sing all happy days when you're watching a brand of football which is not only god awful, but you're going week in and week out watching your game lose, and you're just stood there going, you can see what the problem is. And it was just a death warrant signed when he brought that out. So happy days is gone, and we're so happy he's gone. And the appointment that we've got now with Ruben is probably the best appointment that we could have expected and needed at the club right now. The last 4 games where there wasn't Tim in charge, 2 of them were run by caretaker manager Andy Dawson, who is a Hull City player legend and been at the club, God, forever. Andy Dawson, we will all love. And to be honest, the first 2 games that Andy Dawson was in charge, though there were losses, the football already looked better. And that was evident to see. I mean, though some occasions were like, oh, gutted, it was something that the fans needed. And then when Ruben came over in the first game in charge, we got a draw against Watford. We were unlucky to win that game. Not to win that game, sorry. We were ahead for, what was it, 80 minutes? I can't remember when they scored now, but we were ahead for most of the game. Yes, they had a lot of possession, but the chances and the style of football and the attacking was all Hull City. But our biggest problem there was to close out the game. And I guess that's mainly down to the quality of the players we've got in the squad as well.
Yeah.
Because that became more evident. And especially last week against Coventry, it was extremely evident that we are lacking quality. We don't have a striker. All right, we do, but we don't. With the amount of gambles and the kind of the pace and the time that we took in the transfer market, we were waiting and holding out for quality strikers, and it didn't pull off. They signed elsewhere. Our first option went elsewhere. Our second option went elsewhere. Our third option went elsewhere. So we're looking at 4th and 5th and 6th options that we got in that were not proven. And for all that they might, one of the strikers hasn't actually had a chance to play as a striker yet. He's been brought on as a replacement spare winger every time, which is just crazy because every time he's played and come on off the bench, he's been the most lively and looked like the more kind of, I don't want to call him a forward player because they've been playing him out wide. He needs to be played in the middle, but he looks like the one that would score if he was in the middle. And it's just painful to watch things up top at the moment. Yes, we're leaking goals, but yet we've got quality defenders. I will say that. I mean, a few players have let us down. But then again, is that down to the style of football where we've signed people like, say, Ryan Giles? Ryan Giles is a wing back or a full-on winger. Let's pretty much, he's kind of that midfielder winger role. But he's been played as a left back, and the guy can't defend for anything. He can't header a ball. He can't tackle. He backs off. He's not a defender. but ask the guy to get the ball from the back and run it up the wing and give it a cross in. That's his strength. Play him on the line. I think he's played on the line once all season, and the other time he's been played back, and he's been absolutely horrific. Drame, who we've signed, I think is a quality player there as a right back. We've had to play him left back when Giles wasn't on. So, yes, he did a job, but you could tell he wasn't comfortable. Losing Miller and Balumi. I mean, Balumi was the biggest loss of the season for us. And I say Miller too, because Miller that we got from Liverpool on the left wing. I'm not saying that he is the quality, but he was the kind of player that drove at players. He drove at the opposition. He drove at the wing. He made the opposition back line back off. And he was also the player that turned to the crowd and he had his arms up like that, telling them, let's do this. He was the energy.
Yeah.
And losing him at ACL, and then 2 weeks later, losing Balumi on the opposite wing, on the right wing.
It's a bit unfortunate that.
In 2 weeks, you lost your left winger and your right winger. And to be fair, they were probably your two best players.
Yeah.
One that brought the energy and one that brought the skill. So
going into this game then, it's probably a bit of a hard one to answer. But obviously, you've mentioned how maybe bad it was before. Now there's been a bit of a change. You've got a draw and a defeat since the change happened, but been playing better. Yeah. So what sort of style do you think you're going to head towards now? What do you think we'll see from Hull in this game?
Question. Yeah, we. I'll be honest with you, Luke. We don't know, because when Ruben took over, he only took over last week. He had Monday was a meeting, Tuesday was a bit of light work, Wednesday was a game.
Yeah.
Thursday was a day off. After the Wednesday game, maybe a bit of classroom work. Friday was a one training session, and then Saturday was another game. So then they've had Sunday off or cool down in the morning, and then classroom on the Monday. So this is the he had literally two training sessions, proper training sessions, and he's had two games. So it was hard to say what we're going to expect out of Ruben. The one evident thing was we're playing with a central midfield, which was lovely. I would also say having this week together is generally needed, and everything that's coming out of the local media and everybody that I speak to or listen to and hear, I was saying this week has been positive, other than I believe it's tomorrow we find out about Casey Palmer's fitness, because Casey Palmer wasn't given a chance under Tim Walter and has been under Ruben, and Casey's looked our best player. He's been our most attacking, most forward thinking. He carried the ball. He's probably taken the most shots out of everybody else.
Also, an ex-Swansea player. I was going to ask you about him next anyway, but you kind of already gone into answer. So one that if he does start, we can expect to see a bit of lively action from. Yeah,
no, he's the one who brings the ball up the pitch. He's the one who will take a shot. He links up well with pretty much everybody on the pitch. I'm finding it crazy, still thinking back how Tim wasn't utilising him when he was here, because he seems to be the one player that's giving 110%. Well, I say one player. There's a few players that are giving all the effort, but no dividends at the end. But I will say, attacking wise, Casey Palmer is the one player that's stand out for us at the moment. It's the one where you think if anyone's going to shoot and get a goal at the moment, it will be Casey Palmer, which is.
Well, I hope not. He has scored against us before after he left us. He was on a year on loan, but he scored the next time he played us after he went back. So it's happened before. We'll see if he can get another one. Okay, so other than maybe Casey Palmer, have you got another key player that we should be aware of going into this?
I can't really say key player at the moment. There's effort from a lot of individuals.
Yeah.
A hell of a lot of effort. There was a lot of tired legs last week. It's really tricky to actually say who's going to be what with the kind of the new style that Ruben's kind of
that's
obviously
fair enough.
trying to coach at the moment. We can go look at players like Slater, who's been with the club forever. He's not by any means skillful and a well beater in any way, shape, or form, but he's an engine, which is nice. He's another player that likes to carry the ball.
Yeah.
Alzate, he's only just started getting his chance, but then again, a bit of an injury niggle and also fitness from preseason because he didn't have much because we got him really late, and he came on and he looked special. Unfortunately, all our kind of ones to watch out for are either, well, unfortunately, one of them is banned for a year and a half at the moment and going to appeal, or completely out injured. And all I'm going to say is we don't have a striker attacking threat, but what we do have are a team that can hold you in your half. So that's the one thing that I would say Hull City is very good at, is keeping the ball in your half, but there's no end product. And that's the reason why we are where we are at the moment as well.
We've had a lot of those sort of issues this season as well. So watch this be a 0-0 now.
Hey, you're 11 points. And I will say this, if it is 0-0, that is the best result Hull City can ask for, not to concede a goal. We are begging to not concede a goal. It's silly. And I can't even say it's the keeper. I can't even really truly say it's individual defensive error. Well, maybe a few on the wing backs or left backs. And right back, to be fair, after Louis Coyle last week. Oh, God. But that the guy wears his, his,
it happens sometimes.
It happens, exactly. But you kind of look at them individually at their current, say, peak. Let's put form out the way because of where we are at the moment. We've got a very good, solid midfield, apart from, I guess, out wide. The back line, no problem. We've got so many goalkeepers to pick from. It's a joke. Rachopi, brilliant. Carl Rushworth on the bench, for crying out loud.
How's he on the bench? That's a bit of a shock, that is.
I
would have normally asked you about him, but
yeah,
he wasn't even on the bench against Watford.
Yeah, he's been on the bench all season. Pando started the season. In pre-season, everybody wanted to hang him. He was awful, god awful. I couldn't believe all the ranting and raving. But then throughout the season, he's built and built and built. And I know he's getting goals in the back of his net, but he's still a good goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And he's been doing the job very well. Shot stoppers, he saved a penalty last week as well. He is a good goalie. He's done really well, and he's earned the respect of pretty much every Hull City fan for his performance. And with Carl, he unfortunately, at the best timing of where he could have actually made an appearance, because of a game or two dip in form, he got injured. So it kind of held him back again.
We wanted him back this season, and it just didn't happen. Apparently, he wasn't available, and then by the time he came available, we'd already replaced him. And to be fair, Vigor was doing very well for us. We're probably not even missing him. So,
yeah,
which we never thought we'd say after last season. Do you know what I mean? But I was just looking at the last two games. He's not on the bench for either. So is he injured, or who's your other keeper that might be there?
Maybe Rachopi might have been put on the bench the last two games.
Yeah, he's there for.
Yeah, the thing is, Rachopi is a permanent player, whilst Carl Rushworth is a loanee.
Yeah, and Rachopi's there for the Watford game, and for the Coventry game as well. Sellers maybe not fancying him then.
Yeah, well, he hasn't had game time at all. He had one game he came on for, and at the very beginning of the season, and it was awful. It was bad.
It's hard to come on as a keeper. He had a bit of a slow start for us last season. We really grew into the season, and he's young, and so perhaps that's what they need, a little bit more time to get up to speed. But shame to see that he's not really had the best going from being a first choice championship goalkeeper and then loaned to another club and not getting even on the bench for some games, I guess, is a bit of a reality check. So we'll see if he comes good from it afterwards. But he's definitely a good keeper in there.
Yeah, and we all recognise that as well as fans. And that's the one thing we keep laughing at, because there was a rumour in the January transfer market coming up saying that we were looking at another goalie. I'm like, are you mad?
Wouldn't be surprised if Rushworth gets recalled if he's not playing.
I think from a fan perspective, he should get recalled, and not in a bad way.
Yeah.
He deserves better.
It's wasted. If for goalkeepers, you've got to go on loan and play, haven't you? I guess. Like,
he deserves
it's different. Outfield players can try and work their way in off the bench. You don't really get that opportunity from in goals quite often, do you? So often, if someone's on form on a pitch, that's it, unless they get injured. The other player I just noticed that's on your bench that's got Swansea ties, Finley Burns. Bit of a shock there, because we barely saw him when he was here. I got nothing to say about him, to be honest. Nothing of note. Barely see
him with us either. He played. I think he's played two. I think it's one start and 2 sub appearances. I could be wrong. I haven't got the stats in front.
That sounds very similar to what he did when he was here, and it wasn't even last season. He was a few ago. So
we've played in CDM
lower leagues, maybe.
A bit of an empty shell.
I thought he was a right back for us when we had him.
A right back. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a tall. He's a
either
tall
right
cookie.
back or centre back, but
I mean, I understand centre back, because he is a tall cookie, and I to be honest, we've actually said, well, we want to see him at centre back. It's not that he's played bad; he's just not played good either.
He's just there.
He's there. Yeah. Well, the thing is, that's it. What job was he doing? Because I don't even recall. I think I saw 1 touch from him out of the 3 appearances that I'm thinking of now. I think I can only think of 1 touch. It's hard. It really is hard with all these players that we've got, and this is what we've been discussing as fans and at the club at the moment, especially with January around the corner. We need to send a lot of these players back because they're not being used. We're struggling for goals and we need a striker, but yet you're bottom of the league, so it's going to be pretty much impossible to get a really good striker to come out or someone with exquisite quality to come in. And we can't even promote anybody from our under 21s or your under 18s who are absolutely flying at the moment. Some of the best football we've seen. I mean, Joe from the Hull and Back podcast and channel, he is Mr. Hull City and Mr. Statman, and he knows all about the under 18s and under 21s, and the scoring goals for fun. But yet, I understand. Look, I appreciate it's a huge step up, to the championship.
I agree with you on this point. We've got the same thing where I don't feel like enough of them again given enough of a chance.
Yeah,
and
we can't now. That's the problem. We can't. We're at our limit. So we need.
Does it not even matter with youth? Like, I thought if you're under a certain age, you don't have to get registered.
There's only one that we could potentially bring up from the under 18s. There's one, but then again, we need to unregister the ones that are out for the rest of the seasons, and this is why January is so important.
I thought that if they're under 21, they don't need to be registered if they're home grown. I'm
not sure if they're homegrown. I know Stan is. I know Stan Ashby is.
Maybe that's what it is then.
Yeah.
And there's some weird rules. You've got club homegrown and then you've got league homegrown.
Yeah, I need to kind of remember
but some of them wouldn't need to get registered because their whole idea is they wanted to try and promote developing youth. So you wouldn't register the youth players so that you could still use them. But I don't know, maybe if they were bought in, it might be different then.
I think that's the one thing that we're looking forward to with Ruben being in charge. Because he hasn't had a chance to look at them yet. Let's be fair. He's got bigger fish to fix right now. And that's the one praise that we can easily give straight away to Ruben with the jobs, that he's had in the past, especially coming from Reading, which is he did an immense job this season. I don't think anybody can dispute what he's done at Reading with their transfer embargoes that they're not allowed, the point deductions, their fines, they're just in a hole, not going anywhere. And yet this season, I believe he's gotten to 6th before he came to us.
I haven't seen the League One table recently.
Yeah, but I believe he got him up to 6th. And from a club that's had nothing, can't sign, and
They're
in
sitting
trouble.
in 6th at the moment, yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they have the last 2 games they haven't won. I'm guessing that's since he's left, so...
Exactly. They haven't won since he's left, but yet they're still 6th. So it kind of shows how well he was doing is in and around. And the season before, he saved them again from absolutely dire. He brought in the youth, because he couldn't purchase anybody. They weren't allowed. So he brought in the young players, and yet he's getting a result out of them. And that's the one thing we're kind of hoping for right now.
Pretty sure Southampton started doing better when he came in there as well. I know it was too late for them. I think they were already relegated when he came in from Premier League.
Yeah,
when he
they
took
were
over
pretty
as
much going
caretaker.
down. Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure that they had a bit of a better. I know it's easier when the pressure's off, but maybe showed a little bit of his pedigree there as well. Last thing I want to ask, then, football related, really, is I don't know if you know anything about the Swansea players, but if you do any of them worry you?
I can't say individually.
Yeah.
But no, I can't say individually.
What might worry you about the team then?
You're coming to a club that is currently all over the place. And let's be fair, Swansea are renowned for having I don't want to say you're consistent enough, because you're not, you're all over, but
no.
you've kind of got that core.
Definitely not consistent. We went 2-0 up against Sunderland and managed to bottle it. So
yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, with that. But you've got that core of a team that you all know each other and you know how each other play. And that's the biggest problem when you're playing for a team coming to us at the moment. If there was another team that came to us and that you could tell that they were just mismatch,
yeah,
then there's a chance and there's hope. Because you've got that kind of core stability and everybody knows each other as a team and you know how each other works, they're the ones that seem to punish us more than anybody else. But I don't want to disrespect Swansea when I say this, but there's only been one team this season I've looked at that were out of all the games we've played so far, that there's only one team I've looked at and gone, they're special this season. And that was Norwich. But everybody else has kind of been on the same par. And that's kind of how bad it is for Hull. Because everybody else is on the same par.
Norwich. They were actually ahead of them in the league, so it makes me feel good.
You are.
That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. But Norwich looked brilliant. They know each other inside and out. Yeah. It was bland passing from Norwich, which was scary.
I think they're quite similar to us in that they can do it, but they don't do it enough, and they don't do it all the time.
That's exactly why I'm trying to lead.
Yeah, and we are there. That's where we are, right? We're not the finished product at all. That's why we are where we are. We're so close to the top guys when we want to be, but then we've always got 30 minutes in us for a match where we're not. And we just don't do enough for 90 minutes. You know what I mean? It's frustrating because I think we're doing better this season than I thought we would.
Yeah.
However, we're sitting in a position I kind of predicted, even though we, for me, look a bit better on the pitch than I expected, which makes it more annoying because you think like, oh, we're actually a bit further along than I thought we would be. But there's just a few things that haven't clicked yet.
You've got one guy on form at the moment, and what's
Cullen?
Is it Cullen? Cullen, yeah, Cullen. Who's, if he keeps going, let's be honest, you want a player to keep going for your benefit, obviously, to get the points.
He just signed a new contract, so I hope he keeps going.
All right, there you go. If he's just signed a new contract, then you're happy days. But saying that, it doesn't stop bigger clubs coming in from.
No, but it would have been free if he didn't, because he was gone in the summer.
At least you're going to get a bit of that in case.
Yeah.
But no, I would say with Cullen, I guess it's that confidence of being given that contract and the players around him. Like I said, that stability, you've got that core.
Yeah. He had a magnificent game away at Wales, and he's come back and just been on form ever since. He scored 2 and assisted 2, and we won the Nations League group because of that performance, and he just brought that back with him.
I mean,
you can't complain now. That was fantastic.
What was it? It was not Sunderland. Was it
Leeds?
Was it Leeds before? Was it Leeds before that?
Oh, we had
was it
Plymouth
Leeds before
before.
Sunderland? Plymouth.
Sorry, it was Plymouth before, yeah. And to be fair, they probably should have got something out of the game.
I was going to say, I remember watching the highlights of that game, and I was kind of like, well, it was a good game from a new.
Actually, being hard, it was not that game. I was thinking of where they should have got some in. They could have. I think we were good value for it in the end. But this is what I'm saying. In the end, at the end of the game, we go 2-0 up and we give them a chance. They get 2-1, and all of a sudden the dynamic of the game's changed, the momentum's changed, and it doesn't look as comfortable as it should have.
Mm-hmm.
And that
do you
happens
feel
all
like
the
some
time.
of that happens with you guys? To be fair, with Swansea, like, do you feel though you might be ahead and you might be the attack and you might be the bigger team? Are you once you guys concede? Do you feel there is a massive change in the way
all the
you
time,
play?
every single time? I don't like going 2-0 up this season because it happens all. If you look at our results, we haven't lost the game by more than one. Mm-hmm. So when we do get 2 goals, we always concede, and quite often it is 2-0, 2-2-1, and then it's like hanging on at the end. We went away to Coventry, went 2-0 up in the first half, conceded a goal straight away after the second goal, which, to be fair, was a bit fortunate on their part. It was a bit of a deflection. Mm-hmm. But we went from looking well ahead of them, well on top of the game, battering them, I'll be honest. They score that deflected goal, and all of a sudden, the dynamics completely changed, and we just backs up against the wall out of nowhere. It happened against Oxford as well in the last 10 minutes. It happened against Plymouth in the last 10 minutes. Sunderland, we go 2-0 up, and then probably more than 10 minutes, but it happened for longer. Like, it's just, it seems to be a theme where, I don't know whether we think we're comfortable, we can take our foot off the gas, or they just start getting a bit nervous. I don't know what it is. Luke Williams spoke about it a little bit in his interview after Sunderland, where he was quite angry. But he basically said, like, we haven't got the mentality to be a top team, so we need to just stop thinking that we're going to be there, because we're not, if they're going to carry on doing that sort of thing, which is fair. He's making fair comments, but for me, it's like, all right, fix it then. I'm not saying it's nowhere near the whole, like, I've had enough of him. But for me, it's fine that you can come out and make these comments in the media, and you've quite stuck the dagger in a little bit at the players, after the Sunderland game. Mm-hmm. But he kind of mentioned the playoffs before the match in the pre-match conference. He kind of brought it up. He was asked questions that alluded to it, but he openly then brought it up as a possibility or as a goal and the aim, which of course it is. But sometimes you don't need to say it out loud when you're sitting in 10th, Yes. And then you go 2-0 up against Sunderland, who were in the playoffs, and then lose 3-2. So he basically retracted everything he said and said, like, we're not there, we're not good enough. This is why we are not winning these games, and we haven't beat a top 6 team. And it's like, that's fine, mate. I agree with you completely, right? But you're the boss, so you need to find a solution to it.
Yeah,
it's fine. You've highlighted all these things, but they have been a bit of a theme, and we're in December now, so it's a theme that's continuing. What are you doing to change it? That's what I want to know.
Well, Ruben, he's telling you now, get that one goal.
No, genuine, right? If you're worried, like, oh, they've gone 1-0 up, or they've gone 2-0 up, you just need to get a goal, and you got a chance. You still got a chance.
Our problem's getting a goal, though, mate. That is our problem. I mean,
yeah, but we'll give you opportunities, I would imagine, because of the way we play.
I don't know if I told you this before we went live. Do you know how many games we've won at home in the whole of 2024?
You're going to say like 1 or something? 3. I mean,
the whole of 2024, not this season, the whole year.
I've viewed these sort of pre-match videos so many times, though, where we get to the match and all of a sudden then the result, it just doesn't go our way. It happens every time. Every time someone tells me how much we're going to batter them, and it doesn't happen. I don't know. We'll see.
This game obviously is the halfway point of the season. This is the halfway point. You are literally, this is the halfway game. And from a whole perspective, we get a win, we build off it through the Christmas period, because the games are
coming. Take you out of the relegation zone if you get a win. It's a big result.
It is a huge result, but then we need to continue that. I think if we're realistically wanting safety for the full season, I don't think we can afford to lose. Well, I think we need to win, roughly. I'm just having a look now because there's a few teams with games in hand, isn't there? Portsmouth especially.
Plymouth have got 1, Portsmouth have got 2, Cardiff, Oxford have got 1.
So my maths is roughly about 10 to 11 wins.
But on the other hand, right, you've got better goal difference than all of them teams too. So maybe on the balance of the season, there is still a chance there, even if it takes a few games for your manager to get things going. And I think a lot of those teams mentioned have had a managerial change too. Cardiff and Oxford, yeah. Portsmouth.
But then, with respect to Cardiff now having Frank in charge, what's win?
Yeah,
draw.
It seems to have gone backwards since he actually got the job.
Yeah.
Look, the only silver lining from Swansea losing this game is it could put them into the bottom three. So that's the silver lining that could happen.
There you go. There's always a silver lining.
We'll
there
see.
You go, Luke.
Right, I'm going to have to wrap it up there. But before we do, I do like to ask everyone at the end of the video, what is your best ever away day? I know that's a on-the-spot question. It can be a tricky answer.
To be fair, probably Plymouth away in, what season was it? God, I was a young one. It was a Plymouth away. Oh my God, what year was it? My brain's going to have to go back now. But I remember just the full journey all the way there and back. Oh my God. That's going to kill me now.
When it's a full day experience.
It was a full day and full night. I remember that drive as well. Well, I've been in the car. Sorry, I wasn't driving back then. I was a lot younger back then. And I still recall actually a game at Cardiff. About 10 years ago now.
Would it be the new ground or the old ground?
I believe it was the old ground. I think it was the old ground. I think it was the last season of the old ground. I remember that one. And we had Dean Windass there.
All right.
And I just remember Dean Windass being an absolute terror. Literally, he was going around pinching all the Cardiff defenders' asses every 2 seconds. He was just one of those guys. I mean, he is the wind-up merchant of wind-up merchants. And do you know, we need that now. We still need a wind-up merchant in the club now. I think
you got to have one.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But no, look, it's been... yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. I remember that one. Yeah,
especially at Cardiff.
Yeah, the journey home was lovely.
Yeah, that was always good to go down memory lane. You just get, I think when I ask spontaneously, you just get one that just pops up, and sometimes it's a bit more raw, and that's what I like to hear.
There's a list, mate. You could talk about Cardiff. You could talk about, like I said, the Plymouth game. I could even go back to the player final at Wembley with Bristol. I could even talk about even Arsenal in the cup game, which to this day I'm still gutted we lost. There's memories throughout your club, and that's why we're fans.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't it? That's why we're fans, because those memories, you'll always remember the experience of being there. You'll always remember that kind of feeling. And you know what? Bringing up a question like that out of the blue, it is a sad swipe, but it does bring back memory lanes, and it's always a good one.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that, Luke.
Well, it would be if you're on for the other video later in the season, it'd be a different question. So I'll switch it. When we've played everyone once, I switch it to something else. So then
that's it.
Yeah, and every season's got to change as well. So last year we were on like food and drink. It was like, what's your best ever pint you've had at the ground, and what's your best food? And now we're on to away days.
I'm biased.
I haven't thought of the next one. I'll have to see what I
wait for that one
this week. Yeah. Thanks for joining me, Cristian. Can you remind everyone where they can find Hell and Back and everything like that?
So yeah, guys, if you ever want to catch up with us and ourselves, you can find us on Twitter, or now known as X. We are also on YouTube as well. Every platform, every social platform you can think, Facebook, God, the list goes on and on. Regularly upload Sundays, Wednesdays, and to be fair, there's if anybody ever isn't interested, it sounds a bit of a stupid, but we do have a Christmas special coming out, quite a long one, of every player we've signed, ranking them from 1st to 64th, whilst Ajahn has been in charge. So if you want a bit of a laugh. Oh yeah,
that's a good idea. We're recording a pre-Christmas video like now after this, so maybe I'll nick that. We'll see.
There you go. Yeah,
I'll throw that to the two boys now. You haven't had any thinking time, lads, but this is what we're doing.
Yeah, I can't promise I'll be sober during the recording of that one, but
you always get the best when you've had a drink, don't you?
Definitely.
But anyway, thank you very much, Cristian, for joining me, and good luck for the rest of the season. Hopefully, the turnaround starts after the weekend.
Yeah.
Maybe bit of a sad one this weekend, but after Christmas, it gets better for you.
Well,
good luck. And
we'll wait and see in January, and then
we'll see you later in the season, I'm sure.
That's it. Look, get in touch later on, and you'll either see me you'll see this, or you'll see me crying. It's one or the other, isn't it? So
yeah, of course. And thank you everyone as always for watching, and we shall see you. Well, I shall see you in the next video. So have a good one.